Hi, welcome back to Imagination Station. This is day 3, and today we're going to learn about how Jesus' power helps us to be bold. And we are going to learn a fun fact about Sierra, the mountain lion, too. Our verse for today is, He gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless, from Isaiah 40, verse 29. So Jesus' power helps us to be bold, and that's why we can trust in Him. All right, so here's the fun fact. Which one do you think the mountain lion has a stronger sense of? Is it a sense of smell or a sense of hearing? Do you think they smell you coming if you're walking down a trail in the mountains by the Rocky Railway? Or do you think that they hear you first? The answer is they have a very weak sense of smell, but they have a really good sense of hearing. Imagine that. All right, so today we're going to learn about momentum. Momentum is a science term where once something gets going, it keeps on going, right? And so in your packet, you're going to find some beads. You might find a big string of beads like this, or you might have a few strings of beads like this. And your beads are going to look like a full, like necklaces, like a loop. So to do our experiment, you're going to need to cut your necklace in one place, and there's little knots between each bead, so they're not going to roll all over the place, but you'll want to cut your necklace so that you have one string. Now the reason I'm doing this example is because sometimes it's hard to be bold, especially when we're talking about Jesus. Do you find it to be a little bit scary to maybe share the good news about Jesus with your friends, or maybe scary to pray in public places? Is it kind of make you feel shy or embarrassed? Well, if you take little steps, it gets easier and easier. So maybe you start by saying a little prayer. Maybe somebody asks you, hey, what are you doing? And then you can say, oh, I'm just praying because I'm thankful for God and for my food, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the end of the conversation that day. But you know what? You do it again, and maybe they'll ask you some more questions. And each time, it'll get easier for you to talk about God. So it just takes some momentum. So what we're going to learn is what that means using these beads. So I'm going to take my long string of beads and roll them, kind of let them fall into my cup so they don't get, you don't want it to be too knotted up, so try to just kind of make sure it's smoothly in there. And when they're just laying in there, they're not really doing anything, are they? They're not moving too much unless I move the cup, then they might move. But if they just sit there, they're not going to jump out of the cup or anything. So what we want to do is show how, with just a little nudge, we're going to make them all come out. So, whoops, they fell back in. They were shy. So here, nothing. Oh, almost. Pretty cool, huh? So you can play with that over and over again. If you have a bigger string of beads, maybe you have a chain or something out in the garage. If your mom or your dad would let you play with that, put that in a bucket, it would do the same thing. So some of you maybe had the big beads like this, but others you might have gotten a packet with these little beads. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take each necklace and cut it. And then, and this got a little tangled, you're going to make a nice long chain like this by gluing these. Oh, look at, I've got a knot in here. So I want to get rid of that knot. Okay. So then how I glued these together is I used some glue dots. So we should have some glue dots in your kit if you had these 3 strands. And a glue dot, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It should just be on a strip like this. And it's really clear and hard to see. Oops. And so there's one right there. And if you, to get it off, it's a little tricky too. It's sticky and it's kind of gooey. It doesn't completely dry, so you can kind of play around with it a little bit. And you put that on the end of your bead and it'll stick to the end of the other bead so that they can hold together. So here you can maybe see there's that glue dot stuck between there and it holds them together enough to do our little experiment. So I'm going to load up my glass with this beads. And the glue kind of sometimes hangs up on the beads a little, so it's a little tricky, but it works. Okay, so again, not doing anything, just sitting in there. So remember that first time, maybe you're sitting there praying at the lunch table. Nothing happened, maybe felt a little awkward. Yeah, still, I don't know. Then, woo, got easier. All of a sudden, everything comes easier with just trying, and just keep on practicing being bold. And that is the end of our experiment for day 3. Thank you.